This episode is brought to you by Schwab. You want control of your financial future, and Schwab knows that. That's why when it comes to managing your wealth, Schwab gives you more choices, like full-service wealth management and advice when you need it most. You can also invest on your own or trade on Thinkorswim, their powerful award-winning trading platform. Plus, you'll get low costs, transparent pricing, and 24/7 live help. Because Schwab understands it's your financial journey, and they believe you should have choices in how you invest. Visit schwab.com to learn more. Just a heads up, there is a bit of strong language in this episode. Iris, how are you doing?
I want to say that I don't know even what to answer to this question because things are very bad at the moment.
Iris Zaki is an Israeli filmmaker. I called her up to talk about a documentary she just released with survivors of last month's Hamas attacks. But very quickly, our conversation became about Iris's own feelings. You're in Tel Aviv now?
I'm in Tel Aviv. We have rocket sirens almost every day. There are drones above our heads and, helicopters. So everything is both crazy and kind of like a routine of this craziness. But I'm very worried and very sad.
For a decade now, Iris has made these beautiful little films about Israeli life. In one, she worked at an Arab hair salon in her mixed hometown, and she talked politics with her clients. In another, she sought out very conservative Israelis, people she totally disagreed with, and tried to convince them to have coffee with her. Her latest film is more straightforward, more gutting. She goes to a Tel Aviv hotel that's full of survivors of the October 7th attacks, most from a single kibbutz just beyond the Gaza fence. She speaks to them about how and if they're beginning to pick up the pieces.
קשה לי, אני אומרת, זה פוגע במוסר שלי, לא רק שרצחו לי חברים וחברות, ופגעו בילדים שלי, ושרטו אותנו. מצטערת, סליחה.
Iris herself is aware that for now, she's relatively safe. But she teaches at a university where students and a colleague got killed. Talking to her, it's easy to see the way October's violence has haunted every Israeli, no matter where they were that day.
I was really worried to even walk on the streets of Tel Aviv because it felt like there are, terrorists all over the country and we don't know if they're hiding or if they're here.
You grew up in Israel, right? So what were you taught about your Palestinian neighbors?
Not enough, generally speaking. I don't think that there is enough depth in the way that we are familiar with what's going on.
I mean, in one of your films, I know, I'm not sure if it was you or your subject who said, we were just taught growing up that Palestinians want to kill you.
Mm-hmm. That was me.
Yeah.
Yeah. My father is from Egypt. His father was a Muslim. So my father and his mother used to speak Arabic. But hearing Arabic scares me physically sometimes. So it's like we're really, I hope I can say, fucked up in that sense that it's something that is kind of like growing up here, that's kind of like the result.
Huh. Like it's unavoidable, even with your background.
Yeah, the conflict is very prominent in our lives.
To me, I look at your films, and it seems like one of the projects you're taking on is rejecting that childhood narrative that Palestinians just want to kill you, trying to reject that fear.
Mm-hmm.
Are you having to fight to do that now?
Yeah. I'm very sad, I have to say. I'm very disappointed by a lot of things the more like the child in me is very disappointed by this world right now in many aspects. It's not good for the soul.
Today on the show, an uncommonly intimate portrait of life in Israel, 1 month after the attack that changed everything. The anger, the fear, and what it means to make space for hope. I'm Mary Harris. You're listening to What Next? Stick around. This episode is brought to you by Schwab. You want control of your financial future, and Schwab knows that. That's why when it comes to managing your wealth, Schwab gives you more choices, like full-service wealth management and advice when you need it most. You can also invest on your own or trade on Thinkorswim, their powerful award-winning trading platform. Plus, you'll get low costs, transparent pricing, and 24/7 live help. Because Schwab understands it's your financial journey, and they believe you should have choices in how you invest. Visit schwab.com to learn more. This podcast is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Most of you listening right now are probably multitasking. You are listening while you're driving, cleaning, exercising, maybe even grocery shopping. But if you're not in some kind of moving vehicle, there's something else you could be doing right now. Getting an auto quote from Progressive Insurance. It's really easy, and you can save money by doing it right now from your phone. Drivers who save by switching to Progressive save nearly $750 on average. And auto customers qualify for an average of 7 discounts. Discounts for having multiple vehicles on your policy, being a homeowner, and more. So just like your favorite podcast, Progressive will be with you 24/7, 365 days a year. So you're protected, no matter what. Multitask right now. Quote your car insurance at Progressive.com to join over 28 million drivers who trust Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. National average 12-month savings of $744 by new customers surveyed who saved with Progressive between June 2022 and May 2023. Potential savings will vary. Discounts not available in all states and situations. I want to talk about your latest documentary. The New York Times published it with the headline, "I don't have empathy. It's not in me anymore." You recorded it in a hotel. Can you explain this hotel? Who was staying there?
So basically, the kibbutz that is the closest one to the fence, to the Gaza fence border, is Kfar Gaza, in Kfar Aza in Hebrew. And it's a small kibbutz of like, I think 600 people. And they were, I think, the first ones to get attacked by terrorists. A lot of families there died. I personally know a few people because I also teach at Sapir College, which is exactly there in the Gaza envelope. So we lost a lot of people.
The Gaza envelope is the region around Gaza. It's inside Israel.
Yes, yes.
So you knew people personally who lived in this kibbutz?
Yeah. Someone who worked with me at my department, like TV and cinema, at Sapir College, who was in charge of the productions, and he was on a sabbatical to shoot his film, and he died. He protected his wife and 1-month-old baby, and he was killed.
I'm so sorry.
Thank you. So I was looking for a place where there is one kibbutz staying at the same hotel, because in Tel Aviv now there are a lot of boutique hotels and even apartments that people allow others to stay in from this Gaza envelope.
Because of course they can't stay in their community where they were. It's too dangerous.
No, the kibbutz is smashed, like it's burned. There's no kibbutz anymore. It will take 2 years to rebuild Kfar Gaza. So they are together. You have families that started with 2 rooms because they had the 2 parents and 2 kids or 3 kids, but then more and more people arrived. So the 5 or 6 of them in this one standard hotel room, and it's going to be like that for the next 6 months.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so that's kind of the current situation. Everyone is post-traumatic.
The way your documentary is shot is striking to me because you do these wide shots where someone's looking right at camera in the center of the frame, and you can see all around them how they're living. Like a lot of times there's a kid in the background with a iPad or a device, you can see their messy bed. You can tell that they're in this transitional state. And then they're saying such affecting things. Like, it's clear that people who attacked them may have been familiar with their community.
It's a good question. First of all, thank you for pointing that out. I insisted on filming in the rooms because I thought that in documentary, I always think that the frame should also tell the story. And, taking them to a neutral space would miss something. And I told them, don't, they tried to tidy up the room. I was like, no, people should see that that's the situation. And I really like that. But I have to also tell you, that I went through some Instagram comments and people were like, oh, really? Poor things. They had to go to hotels. Oh, I feel sorry for them in a very cynical way.
Like sarcastic.
Yes, because of, the situation in Gaza. But, when you lost your father or your brother or your wife and 3 kids are kidnapped, it doesn't matter if you're in a hotel. No one wants to be in a hotel. They want to be in their home that no longer exists.
What was one of the more affecting stories you heard?
I think that I was really touched by Eleanor, one of the subjects, with her teenage daughter, because they were like peace activists. They really cared about what's going on in Gaza. They consider themselves neighbors.
Yeah, you said a number of the members of this community, they would make a point to drive Gazans to Israeli hospitals when they needed to go, right?
Yeah, and I insisted on this sentence to include it in the film because I think that it really shows something very strong. In Israel, this is like the most radical left, people that actually are activists and drive, Gazans to hospitals. I like to think of myself as an activist, but I don't go and drive people to hospitals, right? I'm an activist with my films. I'm an activist on Facebook. And now I did take part in the demonstration that was happening. But she drove Gazans to hospitals and she really believed, in coexistence and in she was trying to fight for the Palestinians' rights for normal lives. And then when you see that, it's a bit heartbreaking.
Yeah, you say believed. You corrected yourself there.
I corrected myself, yeah.
You don't think that she still believes?
I think that now it's not a good time to use words and to everything is very extreme now. Like she saw bodies with no faces and like horrible things that made her daughter want to leave the room.
Bodies with no faces.
Yes, that's what she said.
Am I correct in remembering that the people felt like the people who had attacked them on October 7th knew their community, had been in their community, like knew where to go?
Yeah. People are talking about it a lot in Israel now. So they knew exactly where the guns are, and they knew exactly where the teenagers, they have their own, like in kibbutz, sometimes the children and the teenagers, they have their own.
They have like bunks, right?
Yeah, and they don't live with the parents, but they went straight to where young people live. They knew exactly where things are. And a lot of people told me that they knew that because they were building the houses there, refurbishing houses there. And that's going back to what you asked, that's the disappointment that a lot of the people there felt, that people that went there actually learned how things are and went back there. But I have to tell you that we don't know enough. Maybe Hamas interrogated these people and made them, give this information. But the real crisis here is that have been left alone. And I'm not only talking about people waiting for over 20 hours in their security room. They have security rooms in this area of the country because of all the bombs. But, parliament members, Bibi Netanyahu, no one went to see the kibbutz people.
It's clear that the people you spoke to are so raw still, of course, and are angry at the Israeli government, are angry at people inside Gaza, Hamas. How do they feel about their government's response now, the bombing in Gaza? Like, do they feel it's justified, or they don't know how to feel about it given their situation? I'm sure it also differs from person to person.
I can talk for myself. It is scary, and the hostages should come back home. And there is now a demonstration about, stopping this war right away. But I think that people here feel that there should be something done in order to make sure it doesn't happen again.
But no one necessarily knows what that is.
Yeah, but I'm saying in these war terms, not just by sitting down and talking. Like Hamas has to go. That's how I feel the same. I don't think Hamas is taking care of its people. I don't think they treat them with humanity. And I don't think that people that slaughtered parents in front of the kids or kids in front of their parents and took 6-month-old babies as hostages and 85-year-old, the elderly as hostages or killed them, are the ones that will help the Palestinians to achieve the life they deserve. I don't believe in war, yeah? But it wasn't towards soldiers that it happened. It was, innocent people, but I don't want any innocent people to sacrifice their lives. And I don't see it's the other side. I see it as people and my brothers.
We'll be right back.
Today, 1 in 3 women are blocked from getting abortion care in their home state. Over the past year, lawmakers in 22 states and counting have stripped reproductive freedom from nearly 21 million women, plus more trans and non-binary people. Across the country, politicians are pushing to control bodies, lives, and futures. There's no end in sight. They want a nationwide ban on abortion, and they're also attacking birth control, sex education, care for trans people, and more of our human rights. Planned Parenthood is fighting to make sure everyone can get the care that they need. They'll never back down. They'll never stop fighting, because everyone deserves sexual and reproductive health care, no matter what. You can join the movement and donate today. Visit PlannedParenthood.org/future.
This podcast is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Whether you're driving, cooking, or doing laundry, Progressive knows the podcasts you listen to go best when they're bundled with another activity, much like how their Progressive home and auto policies go best when they're bundled. Having these two policies together makes taking care of your insurance easier and could help you save too. Customers who save by switching their home and car insurance to Progressive save nearly $800 on average. That's a whole lot of savings and protection for your favorite podcast listening activities, like going on a road trip, cooking dinner, and even hitting the gym. Yep, your home and your car are even easier to protect when you bundle your insurance together. Find your perfect combo. Get a home and car insurance quote at Progressive.com today. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. National average 12-month savings of $793 by new customers surveyed who saved with Progressive between June 2021 and May 2022. Potential savings will vary.
Taking charge of your future starts with taking the first steps. And saving up to $30 a month on Cox Internet with the Affordable Connectivity Program makes those steps easy to take. Whether they bring you to click upload on your first short film, or join now for an online book club. Applying is easy. See if you qualify at cox.com/ACP. Non-transferable one per household. Application and eligibility decisions are made by the FCC.
I've heard what happened on October 7th referred to as Israel's 9/11. And I really understood that talking to Iris. For me, 9/11 kicked off a period of bewilderment. All these questions about, what do I do now? When will things feel normal? A solid year later, one of the first things I asked anyone new was, where were you the day the towers fell? It's like that for Iris now. Like, she hasn't gone back to work yet. The college where she taught is so close to Gaza that no one's ready. Even when she returns to teaching, it won't be in person. For her students, October 7th, it was their worst nightmare made real.
This area is so used to being bombed and going to the shelter. It happens a lot. Like where I teach, there are a lot of signs, and we are prepared of that. When I show films with sound that sounds like siren, I have to trigger, alert them before. So I used to write to them, hey, you're in my thoughts, whenever there's, some tension in the area. But now we're talking about a different story. People that went through, they lost their teacher, the one that I told you about, they lost friends. One was in a coma, one of my students. So now he's back. I'm very happy about it. But I have to tell you that I feel that I'm grieving. And again, not only for the people that died in my country, not also for people in Palestine. And also I think that someone died in me, in us, on October 7th. Very fundamental feeling of security, of protection. It's painful and it's scary. And next week I'm going to London, to the UK Jewish Film Festival, and I'm scared.
You're scared to be in public as an Israeli?
As an Israeli in a Jewish Film Festival. Yeah. I've heard a lot of things when I was living in London for 8 years, where I did my master's and my PhD, that were very, very upsetting. It starts with my country, and then I kind of agree, yeah, it's a horrible place. I hate it. And then it goes to the people in my country, and then I'm a bit, okay, wait a minute, I'm also from there. There are different people. And then sometimes with the right amount of alcohol, it goes to, oh yeah, and actually Jewish people are like this and like that. And that's where I feel very scared and very sad. And that's a feeling that a lot of my friends feel now.
I know you've had a breadth of work before this latest documentary, and I want to talk about it a little bit now. Because right now in Israel, there's both bombing going on in Gaza, but also rising violence in the West Bank. That's where you made your film Unsettling. You went to a Jewish settlement, Tekoa. It's the kind of place that's home to some of the most conservative Israelis, people who are living illegally on occupied land, causing a lot of tension with their Palestinian neighbors.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if you're still in touch with any of the people that you spoke to there at this moment.
I am in touch generally, not right now, but I stayed friends with the main settler, the main character, Matanya.
The first one to talk to you.
Yeah, exactly. And he was he's amazing. He was raised there, he was born there, and he thinks that Israel has to find a solution.
Yeah. I was struck by one woman in your documentary Unsettling who'd actually been attacked by a Palestinian and stabbed. She was pregnant at the time.
Yes.
And she both didn't want to leave the settlement. She felt like it was her place. But she also felt what I'd call empathy for her attacker.
Yeah.
She said that local Muslim leaders had come to her home and prayed with her as she was recovering from her injuries.
Mm-hmm.
In the wake of October 7th, have you found any stories like that? People who are feeling similarly to that woman, or no?
I have to say that she didn't feel empathy towards her attacker, but towards generally, where he comes from and why he became an attacker.
Mm.
I saw some posts at the beginning of this ugly war from people from her kind of like camp, which is the Fruman family that she belongs to, and some other women that are really, trying to promote coexistence in the West Bank. I personally would prefer that they didn't live in the West Bank and try to coexist there, but go back to, the legal parts of Israel. So I admire her, but I think that the settlers have been quite a pain in the ass for this government. Sorry. Look, a lot of my friends are like left-wingers. A lot of things are on my feed right now, supporting Gaza, supporting Palestinians, not Gaza. Gaza is an empty word for me. Again, we need to separate things, but caring for that. But there is pain and there is rage and there is fear right now.
I have one last question.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what your next project is going to be? You just did this documentary with people who had just survived a horrible, horrible massacre. What do you want to do next?
I'm actually very interested. And just yesterday, I came back from Haifa. There is a project that I want to film with both Israelis or Jews and Palestinians or Arabs, young people, and hear from them about the current situation and their views, not only on the war, but broader views.
I'm wondering if you think that project will give you some hope.
Yes, I have to say yes, because I believe in people. I believe in individuals. I think that people can actually be in a fruitful dialogue. And again, as long as there is this very basic respect and curiosity. And I do hope that younger people in Israel will be better than, the older generations, and will try to make this place a better place for them and for their children. And I do believe that there is like some really good elements here in this society and in this country.
Iris, I'm really grateful for you setting aside so much time and talking through all your complicated feelings and your work. Thanks.
Thank you. It was good for me as well. Just like the people told me when I was filming them.
Iris Zaki is an Israeli filmmaker. She lives in Tel Aviv. And that's the show. If you're a fan of what we're doing here at What Next, the best way to support us is to join Slate Plus. Go on over to slate.com/whatnextplus and sign up. What Next is produced by Elena Schwartz, Rob Gunther, Anna Phillips, Paige Osborne, and Madeline Ducharme. We are led by Alicia Montgomery, with a little boost from Susan Matthews. Ben Richmond is the Senior Director of Podcast Operations here at Slate. And I'm Mary Harris. Thanks for listening. I'll catch you back here next time.
How powerful is the Cox network? So powerful that one day the internet will let your doctor perform miracles from thousands of miles away.
Connecting to remote operating room.
Giving a whole new meaning to the term house call.
Operation complete.
The Cox network. With gig speeds everywhere. It's internet built for tomorrow, today. Cox, bringing us closer. In Cox serviceable areas, speeds vary and are not guaranteed. Cox terms apply. Other restrictions may apply. How powerful is the Cox network? So powerful that one day the internet will let your doctor perform miracles from thousands of miles away.
Connecting to remote operating room.
Giving a whole new meaning to the term house call.
Operation complete.
The Cox network. With gig speeds everywhere. It's internet built for tomorrow, today. Cox, bringing us closer. In Cox serviceable areas, speeds vary and are not guaranteed. Cox terms apply. Other restrictions may apply.